All right, welcome to the Virtual College Exploration for all Indiana students, sponsored by the Indiana Association for College Admission Counseling and StriveScan. Thank you for joining us this evening. A few housekeeping announcements before we get started. You can use the Q&A button on your screen to type your questions to our presenter at any time. Your camera and microphone are off, so the presenter cannot see or hear you this evening. This is just one of many different sessions happening, so be sure to check out the full schedule at inacac.org. This presentation is being recorded and will be available within a week or so at the same website. That's inacac.org. At this time, I'm going to turn it over to our presenter.
All right, well, hello everyone. My name is Anna and I'm an undergraduate admissions counselor here at Florida Southern College. And I have the pleasure of working with students from the Midwest, including Indiana, as well as Charlotte and Lee counties in Florida. So I'm so excited to be here and help you throughout this process as well. Just to get started with some basic information about Florida Southern. Florida Southern College is located right in between Tampa and Orlando in Lakeland, Florida. We're about an hour in between both cities, an hour and a half in between both coasts. So it's a pretty sweet spot to be in Florida for sure. We were founded in 1883, which makes us one of the oldest private colleges in the state of Florida. And we are home to about 3,000 total students, 60% of which are from the state of Florida and 40% are from out of state, representing nearly all 50 states and 50 foreign countries as well. And just a little bit of a fun fact about Florida Southern, we are also considered a National Historic Landmark for having the largest single-site collection of Frank Lloyd Wright structures. If you don't know who he is, that's totally okay. He is an American-born architect hailed as the greatest of our time. Very modern architecture. Actually, that picture is one of his most iconic buildings. That's the Annie Pfeiffer Chapel, lots of stained glass, lower ceilings, which is a little bit disorienting, but it is definitely exciting to be part of a campus that has so much history. And it's also very modern, so it's not your typical brick and mortar structure as well. In terms of academic programs, we do have over 70 programs of study. And if you're looking for going into like med school or law school or some kind of program like that, we do have 16 pre-professional tracks as well. The way that those pre-professional tracks are designed is that you major in whatever you want while you're on that track. And those tracks include specific coursework and advising to help you get into those programs after graduation. We do have those programs over our 5 different schools, which are the School of Business, the School of Nursing and Health Sciences, the School of Physical Therapy and Exercise Science, the School of Education, and the School of Arts and Sciences, which does include fine arts as well. And our most popular majors are biology, marine biology, nursing, business, music, theater, exercise science, and computer science as well. We are a liberal arts college at our core, so you are going to get a well-rounded degree no matter what you major in. That's just going to help you with some soft skills for getting a job after graduation or getting into graduate schools. Speaking of those schools, we do have several different options, including 11 master's and doctoral level programs on campus. And we also have several different accelerated options. So these are 4+1 programs that allow you to get your bachelor's degree and your master's degree in 5 years. And those accelerated options are for our Master's of Business Administration, our Master's of Accountancy, our Master's of Education, and then coming soon, a Master's in Industrial and Organizational Psychology. Regardless of what you major in though, we do emphasize in engaged and experiential learning. And this basically just means that you'll be an active participant in your classroom. We really believe in the power of learning by doing, so we try to limit the amount of time that you sit in the classroom and get talked at because A, that's super boring, and B, that's not really how people learn. So we try to get our students and immerse them in their field as soon as possible. So some examples of these engaged learning experiences include within our biology department. So we are part of the Tiny Earth Network, which is a network of schools started by Yale University that are all working on antibiotic resistance research. So all of our first year biology students get to take part in this project. It's a semester-long project. So our students go out into the community, they collect soil samples, and they bring them back to our labs to analyze those soil samples for antibiotic properties. And over the last couple of years, our students have found over 200 new antibiotic properties, which is super, super exciting. And our students have been able to present at conferences and publish papers that way as well. We also have a CBS affiliate station right here on campus. So our communications students have the opportunity to get experience in broadcast journalism as undergraduates. And also our nursing program is really just a great example of hands-on learning. You can't really learn nursing unless you're doing hands-on activities. So we have a big building dedicated to nursing, full of mannequins that bleed, vomit, go into cardiac arrest. One gives birth, which is kind of gross, but you're gonna have to see it eventually, so you might as well see it on a mannequin first. And this allows you to get experience working with patients without any risks before you go out and do your clinical rotations with real patients as well. So we're able to offer these kinds of learning experiences in part because of our small class sizes. With 3,000 total students, our average class size is 18 students, and our student to faculty ratio is 14:1. Also, all of our classes are taught by professors themselves, so we never have graduate students or teaching assistants leading courses, and this just ensures that you're learning from experts in your field at all times. If you're looking for an extra academic challenge, we do have an honors program here at Florida Southern, and it's a really wonderful honors program as well. We have expanded our requirements for the honors program to be more inclusive, so definitely take a look at that on our website, and if you feel like you meet any of those criteria, feel free to apply. There is a separate application. It just opened on October 1st, and it's due by March 1st. But if you are accepted into the honors program, it does come with some perks like priority registration on classes and housing. You get to do a capstone research project with a professor in your field of study. And you do get letters of recommendation for jobs and graduate programs right off the bat as well. Kind of as an extension of our engaged learning experience are these 3 guarantees. And these 3 guarantees are for all of our students, regardless of major. It's just up to you whether you take advantage of them or not. So the first guarantee that I'd like to highlight is that study abroad option. So we do guarantee this through a couple different ways. The most popular way is through our Junior Journey program, which is a 7 to 10 day trip over school breaks in either your junior or senior year. You do go with a professor, so there is an academic component to it, and you do get course credit for these trips. But you also get to do a lot of fun things and some sightseeing too. So it's all around just a really wonderful experience. The best thing about these trips though is that they are at little to no additional cost to our students. And our students have gone all over the place. We've gone to England, Spain, Italy, Scotland, Iceland, Ireland, South Africa, New Zealand, Australia, Taiwan, Russia, the Cayman Islands, the Bahamas, pretty much anywhere that you could possibly think of. Also, because these trips don't take any time out of your course schedule, you do have the opportunity to go on a trip that's outside of your major. For example, the environmental science student program went to New Zealand a few years ago to study the horticulture and ecology there. And they also took a side trip to the Hobbit filming location. Ironically, I mean, like, because it didn't take any time out of the class schedule, half of the students that went on that trip were environmental science majors. They were just Lord of the Rings buffs that knew that they were going on that trip. But they also got to go and experience something outside of their major that they wouldn't typically get in the classroom, which is really nice as well. If 7 to 10 days isn't enough time for you, we do have a May option called a Maymester. So that's somewhere between 2 to 4 weeks abroad. Or we have your more traditional semester-long options as well. And a lot of these trips can also be domestic trips too. That second guarantee is an internship, and we do guarantee this regardless of major. And internships are super important because 95% of employers are looking for new hires with experience, and internships are a really great way to show that you're a competitive candidate once you enter the job market. We also guarantee professional work experiences for students who are wanting to go to graduate school, whether that's research opportunities or shadowing opportunities if you're wanting to do med school or anything like that. So we have tons of opportunities regardless of what your career paths are. And students have the option to do these experiences locally during the school year, or you can go closer to home during school breaks or explore somewhere new if you'd like. We even had some students go abroad, which is super, super nice as well. And then that last guarantee is to graduate in 4 years or less. And this kind of seems self-explanatory because a 4-year degree should take 4 years to complete, but recent data is showing that it's taking students longer and longer to graduate with a bachelor's degree, which is totally fine if you need that extra time, but needing that extra time also does mean that you're paying for more for your college education, and that's not a burden that we want to put on our students financially if we don't have to. So that's why that guarantee is in place. And we're able to guarantee this through a couple different ways. First and foremost, we're very transfer credit friendly, so you may be able to come into college with some college credits under your belt already. But also, all of our students are paired with an academic advisor in their field of study as soon as they're on campus. And typically, those academic advisors end up being a professor that you have had already or will have sometime in the future. So not only are you learning from experts in your field at all times, but you're also getting mentored by them outside of the classroom. You meet with your professors and your academic advisors several times per year just to make sure that you're on track. They're also very well connected, so they can kind of make some suggestions on internships that you should be looking for, or research opportunities, or some kind of professional working experience that will help, again, boost your resume, help with your graduation requirements, different things like that as well. To kind of summarize everything that I've shared so far, these academic opportunities are super important because they do translate into post-graduation success. And 97% of our students are employed or attending some kind of graduate or professional school within 1 year after graduating from Florida Southern. About a third of our students do go on to a graduate or professional program, and the remaining 2/3 enter the workforce. And on this page, at the bottom, those logos are just some examples of institutions and employers our students have joined after graduation, but just to highlight some specific students on that second row, to the second picture in is Natalie Barton. She was the student government president her senior year when she was at Florida Southern. She was a nursing major, got to do a really cool internship in the Philippines for a summer while she worked as a birthing nurse. Now she works as an RN at the Palm Bay Hospital here in Florida. On that same row, all the way to the right is a picture of Sophie Morgan, who just graduated a couple years ago as well. She was a marine biology major, and this picture in particular is her at her full-time job now. She works at the Georgia Aquarium as a penguin trainer and a beluga whale birthing nurse. And those are just some examples. I mean, we have students doing all sorts of things across the country, across the globe. We have a really wonderful alumni network. So wherever you end up after graduation, you're going to have some Florida alumni who can, Florida Southern alumni who can help create a community for you and help network and different things like that as well. So you're not going to be alone wherever you end up. So now I know, academics and outcomes are definitely part of your college experience, but I also want to talk about student life just because, you'll be spending 4 years at Florida Southern, and for out-of-state students in particular, it's important that you feel like your college is also your home away from home. You want to feel as comfortable here as possible, and Florida Southern does pride itself on being a true campus community. We actually require students to live on campus for all 4 years, unless you live within a 30-mile radius of campus, but Indiana is obviously very outside of that 30-mile radius. But this also means that you're guaranteed to have housing for all 4 years. We do have 16 housing options that include on-campus dorms, as well as apartment complexes near campus that are typically set aside for upperclassmen. All of those apartment complexes are within a mile radius of campus. We have police officers that live and patrol there 24/7. There's shuttles that go back and forth, so you don't have to worry about walking or riding a bike or parking on campus. And we also have RAs stationed at all of the apartment complexes, much like we do in our dorms on campus. So that way you have very similar resources off campus as you do on campus. The biggest difference is that these apartment complexes are designed to give you a little bit more independence in your living so that you can better adjust for what comes next after graduation. Aside from housing, we have everything else that you can need on campus. I'll talk a little bit about involvement opportunities and ways to connect and make friends, but we also just have a ton of places to eat on campus. We bring a farmer's market to campus every second Wednesday of the month, and you can use your meal plan to help pay for some of those groceries, which is super awesome. We have a convenience store on campus. Over 8 dining options, including our main dining hall, which is Winnie's Bistro, as well as a steak and shake on campus, a little cafe that serves Starbucks coffee, and a bunch of food from local vendors like Uncle Nick's Bakery, Best Bagels in Lakeland, super awesome. We also have a food truck that serves really great barbecue, and we also have a Boar's Head Deli and a fresh and smoothie place on campus as well. We're also located really closely to downtown, and Lakeland's become a very foodie town, which is super nice. So there's plenty of places to eat off campus nearby as well. We also have a really wonderful athletics department. So we are NCAA Division II, and we are the Florida Southern Moccasins, the snake, not the shoe. Shoe would not be very intimidating. But we have 30 teams, 20 teams, and 30 national championships among them all, which is super exciting. Everyone gets into athletics on campus. Even our president, Dr. Ann Kerr, has been kicked out of basketball games for being rude to the, not rude, but for fighting for our team with the refs and everything like that. There's a ton of school spirit on campus, and there's also tons of opportunities to get involved with athletics at the club and intramural level as well. Those club sports are a lot more competitive than the intramural programs, but they're not quite at that D2 level. And those club sports are water skiing, which is NCAA Division I club. We also have equestrian, esports, cheerleading, and new this past year was ice hockey, which is super exciting. Since we are D2, you do have to get recruited, and you have tons of different ways to reach out to the coaches, or you can submit a prospective student athlete questionnaire if you're wanting to get in touch with them that way as well. Our Wellness Center is in charge of all of our intramural programs, and about 50% of our student body does get involved in intramurals of some kind. We have your more traditional intramural options like flag football, ultimate frisbee, kickball, basketball, different things like that. But we do try to do some rotating fun ones as well. So we've done inner tube water polo. We do Mario Kart tournaments, but not on the screen. We physically built out a track, had scooters as the different bikes, and also had dodgeballs as the different kind of turtles you can have and throw at people. It's a little intense, but very, very fun. We also have some non-athletic options as well. So we have trivia tournaments, board game tournaments, rock, paper, scissors tournaments, cornhole tournaments. We've even done Madden tournaments. So there's definitely something for everyone to get involved with athletically. We also have over 100 student clubs and organizations, and this ranges anywhere from honor societies for the different majors to more special interest clubs and organizations as well. Like our cat club, we have a Disney club, a board game club, several different book clubs, FLOSO COSO and environmentally conscious organizations, tons of ways to get involved. We do have Greek life on campus, so we do have 6 sororities and 7 fraternities. Only about 30% of our student body population gets involved in Greek life, but it is a really great way to get some community service experience as well as some leadership experience as well. We are United Methodist affiliated, but it is in no way, shape, or form a requirement for you to be Methodist to get into Florida Southern, or take a religion class or attend a church service if you don't want to. However, we do have the options here to grow in your faith if that's something that you're interested in. So we have non-denominational church services every Sunday, as well as Catholic Mass every Sunday. And we do have 10 campus ministries as well, including a Catholic ministry, a Jewish Hallel, several student-led worship groups, Bible study groups, and service ministries too. Speaking of service ministries, they do a lot of work through our Lakeland community as a whole, and we're very fortunate that Lakeland is a very philanthropic town, so there's a ton of ways and ton of organizations to get involved with. So if you're looking to do community service, there's definitely an avenue for that, and many of our clubs on campus do community service as part of their organization. Within the past couple of years, our students have completed 30,000 hours of community service, which is awesome. I mean, that's not required by us, it's just hours that our students put in because they wanted to do that and give back to their community. I think that says a lot about our student body population. We do have a cornerstone for our students, which really does involve, being welcoming to students, to everyone and their ideas, even if it's a difference of opinions. It does also emphasize, giving back to your community. So I think our students really do embody that cornerstone for sure. All right. So now that I've kind of talked about all there is to do at Florida Southern and all of the resources available to you and everything that we can offer, let's kind of talk about how to officially become a Florida Southern Moccasin. So first and foremost, it's 100% totally free to apply regardless of how you do so. And our application is available on our website, which is flsouthern.edu, but we're also available on Common Application and Coalition as well. In addition to your application, we do need a high school transcript complete through your junior year, as well as a personal statement. Now that will be included on the Florida Southern application, as well as Common Application. Coalition is the only one that you might have to submit something separately for. You can also submit a letter of recommendation by a guidance counselor, a teacher, basically anyone that isn't a family member, if you would like. It's optional though, so you're not required to do that at all. We're also test optional this year, so if you have test scores, that's super great. You're more than welcome to send those in. But if you're not happy with your test scores or you haven't been able to take them yet, I know this year has been absolutely crazy and it's been hard to get test dates. So if you haven't been able to take an exam yet, that's totally okay. We are test optional, so you don't have to submit your test scores in order to be considered for both admission or scholarship. Once we have all your items though, we are on rolling admission, so it should take somewhere between 2 to 4 weeks to get you a decision back. Something to note though is that you are able to submit your application without having your transcript or like letter of recommendation ready. You can go ahead and submit those items one at a time as they become available. You don't have to wait until everything is all together at once. We do have several different decision options for applying. So right now that's still live is early action and early decision. They're both due by November 1st, but the difference between the two is that early decision is binding, which means that Florida Southern is your #1 choice. If you are accepted, you're going to submit your deposit. So that an early decision option is binding, and you have to submit a $500 non-refundable enrollment deposit by January 15th. Whereas early action is just submitting everything early. It's non-binding, so you have until May 1st to make your decision. And also your enrollment deposit is refundable until May 1st as well. We also have a regular decision option. So all of those materials are due by March 1st if you apply through regular decision, and you have until May 1st to make your decision, and the enrollment deposit is also refundable until May 1st that way as well. I do recommend submitting your application as early as possible because it does help give you some extra time. You know, this process can be super overwhelming. So the earlier you can get everything submitted, the more time you have to make your decision, which is super nice. Finally, I mean, I know that the cost of college can be super overwhelming, so every application is automatically considered for an academic-based scholarship. However, I also strongly suggest and encourage students to file the FAFSA, which just opened on October 1st. It's not a requirement whatsoever to file the FAFSA, but I definitely recommend it at least for the first year because you never know what you might be eligible for in terms of financial aid, federal financial aid. There are some departments on campus that also offer specific scholarships based on audition, portfolio review, interview, or athletic recruitment. And we also are an aid stacking institution, so we do accept outside scholarships from online sources, community organizations in your area, anything from college savings plans as well, as long as there aren't any stipulations. And we can accept those and stack them on top of your academic-based scholarship too. We do have a Prestige and Premier Scholarship program. They do have some higher eligibility requirements, but they can potentially be various scholarships that stack on top of your academic-based scholarships, or they can be your bigger full tuition and fees and full ride scholarships as well. If you're eligible for those scholarships, you'll know. We won't stop hounding you about them. It does require a separate application. That priority deadline is November 15th, and then the general deadline to apply for those scholarships is January 3rd. There could potentially be an interview process along that as well. But definitely, I mean, we still have a ton of different ways that you can earn financial aid from a variety of sources. And 99% of our students, our first year students, do receive financial aid of some kind. And about 96 to 97% of that financial aid does come from Florida Southern, which I think says a lot about the investment that we make in our students' education. So that's basically all the general information that I have about Florida Southern. If you're wanting to learn more, there's tons of different ways that you can experience Florida Southern. We are open for in-person tours. We have 3 tour times at 9 a.m., 1 p.m., and 3 p.m., Monday through Friday. On the weekend of November 7th, so Saturday, November 7th and Sunday, November 8th, we'll also be having in-person tours for the weekend. We do have capacity limits for these tours, so I definitely recommend registering in advance and planning in advance just in case we do reach that capacity limit. And we do require students to do a temperature check and wear masks at all times when you're on tours, but we would love to have you down if you're able and feeling comfortable in attending an in-person tour. If you're not able or comfortable attending an in-person tour, I totally understand. Again, this year is weird and times are strange. So we definitely have a ton of options for you to experience Florida Southern virtually. We do have a video tour available on our website, and we also have tours of all of our first-year residence options as well. We're also hosting webinars over the next couple of months called Mock Talk webinars. These are really great ways to kind of engage with faculty members in your prospective major. We're also hosting mock talks about scholarships and financial aid and how to apply, and there will be student panels and different things like that. So I definitely recommend checking those out. Also on Saturday, November 14th, we'll be hosting a virtual day on campus. It's all going to be on Zoom, which is super nice. You'll get an overview of Florida Southern again, get to meet with some professors in your field of study, meet with current students, learn a little bit more about resources available on campus. I'll be there too, so if you have any questions, you can drop by, say hi, ask your questions. I definitely recommend registering for that and attending if you're able to as well. And all of our Mock Talk webinars are recorded and uploaded on our website within 24 to 48 hours. So if you miss one, don't worry, it's going to be on the website. But basically, I mean, that's all the information that I have for you guys. If you have any questions, just drop them in the Q&A. I'm happy to help. So it does look like I have a question about advanced credits like, you know, AP classes, dual enrollment, different things like that. Like I mentioned, we do accept those credits at Florida Southern. Kind of just depends. I mean, most AP exams, you need a 3 or above to get credit for the courses. There are some classes like calculus that do require a 4 or above, just because it is really difficult to transition from an AP calculus class to calculus 2 at the college level. So they do require a higher score, but for the vast majority of those courses, it's a 3 or above. IB, it's typically a 4 or above. For ACE, it's a C or above on the exams, and then dual enrollment is a C or above in the class as long as you go to a college that is accredited. Okay, talk about the audition process. So the audition process, you know, if you're interested in doing a BFA in musical theater or theater tech, that does have an audition process. Right now we're doing everything virtually, so you have to submit some pre-screening and then you could be called back for audition. Again, that'll all take place virtually. Most of the pre-screening requirements are on the website. For theater, it's usually a couple of different monologues, contrasting monologues, probably about 1 minute to 2 minutes. I'm not sure off the top of my head. For musical theater, very similar to contrasting songs. And I believe the dance audition portion is through the actual audition, not the pre-screening process. Theater tech is a portfolio of the work that you've already done. But again, more specific information can be found on our website, which is just flsouthern.edu. Any other questions? Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for joining today. I'm excited to be working with you all. If you all have any questions, please don't hesitate to let me know. You can always text, email, call me. I'm happy to help. Thanks.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining us today. When you close this window, there will be a link to a very quick 4-question survey. We would appreciate any feedback that you could provide us. Again, this was one of many sessions being hosted. To see additional sessions, please visit inacac.org. And in about a week, you'll be able to find this session's recording as well as all other session recordings, again at inacac.org. Thank you. Have a good evening.